This video was shot 4 and 5 days before the start of the first wildfire of January 2025 in Los Angeles. LA has always had a very special place in my heart, and oddly enough, I get into that in this video. And it's my hope that this video will serve as a celebration of the City of Angels. I've linked several reputable organizations below that you might consider donating to, but most of all, my heart goes out to Los Angelinos everywhere. Stay strong, LA. So today I got up at the ass crack of dawn to make the drive from Vegas to LA to see my good friend Nicole. We have been like brother and sister for the last decade. We met at work and just formed a lifelong friendship. So it's a huge item on my bucket list, spending as much time with the people that I care about and love. And we're gonna go to Paramount Pictures studio tour, which I'm super excited about because, as you all know, I'm a huge Trekkie. As you can see, huge Trekkie. Had to block my face because otherwise the cinematic setting will focus on me. So even just see the exterior of the sound stages that they shot Star Trek on and have been shooting it on for 60 years almost. Actually, yeah, 60 years, because the original pilot was 64 they shot it. Will be a huge bucket list item for me. And then we're gonna go to dinner at my favorite Italian place in Newport Beach. More like Laguna, I guess. It's Newport. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I'm not bougie quite like that. Yeah, I'm gonna stay at a hotel. She's staying with her mother out there, and my receipt is 100% blank. This is way too close. I gotta wash my hands. I just can't. Did I put the cap back on? I don't know. So, you know, Nicole, we don't get to see much of each other because obviously we met in New York at work, and then during the pandy, she moved to Tulum in Mexico, and right after it, I moved to Las Vegas, and so we don't get to see much of each other. But she's in LA for a little bit. You know, it's a 4-hour drive, give or take. We've been family for a decade, and you know, we've had our ups and downs. We'll bicker and we'll laugh and we'll be inappropriate and we'll get super emotional, and it's all the beauties of what family is to us in our lives. Even if it's just for a night of hanging and a morning of hanging, it's important. So it'll be filled with the feels, as the kids say. All right, I made it to Irvine, California at lunch. I probably shouldn't have had it. Now I feel too full. I think I need to poop. It's so smoggy. There's a little bit of humidity in the air. I don't know if it's like the mist off the ocean or the smog. It's starting to clear up though, so it's probably the mist from the ocean. I haven't spent enough time in LA to really know the difference. One friend hates California, always says it's smog, even though it's clearly mist. I don't know, but I'm here. It's gonna be like a 90-minute drive, I hope, to Paramount Studios from here. So hopefully traffic favors us. I know that's a risky proposition in this city of angels. San Angeles and the 3 seashells. Seashells by the seashore. Yes. Probably a subconscious mistake. I thought that the tour visitors parking was inside the Paramount lot. It wasn't, but it was super cool to drive into those gates like we belong there. But they quickly directed us to the parking lot across the street, which is directly across Melrose from the visitors entrance that you'll go through for the tour. What the hell is that? Is that like a new kind of messenger studio thingy? It's going, it's burning rubber right there. Founded in 1914 with roots dating back to 1886, Paramount Pictures is the 6th oldest production studio in the world and 2nd oldest in the United States. The iconic Paramount logo is based upon Ben Lomond Peak in Utah, and at the time of its creation, the stars above the peak represented the original stars signed to the studio. The majority of the Star Trek TV and film franchise, the Mission Impossible films, Cheers, Frasier, Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Godfather trilogy, Bridesmaids, Fake Indiana Jones, Spider-Man 2, The Birdcage, The 10 Commandments, Austin Powers, Forrest Gump, The Addams Family, Ghost, Scrooge, Chinatown, many of Alfred Hitchcock's masterpieces, Eddie Murphy's 80s and 90s catalogs, Transformer, Top Gun, Wolf of Wall Street, and countless of Hollywood's most enduring works of art were brought to life here at 5555 Melrose Avenue. From silence to sound, mergers and acquisitions, black and white to color, film to digital, and literal fires that nearly destroyed it all, the Paramount Pictures lot stands firm as the last remaining major studio still in operation in Los Angeles proper. When you enter, you'll get this really cool lanyard that has your name on it and a magnificent quote. The holographics are very, very cool. And then you're asked to wait for your tour guide in this room that has costumes from Top Gun. Oh dear God, Elton, you are packing good, sir. No wonder you were knighted. This wall goes through a brief history, or not so brief, of all the major events and franchises in Paramount history. And like I said, they have costumes ranging from the Queen of England to Top Gun, Maverick, Elton John, and of course the reboots of Star Trek, which I wish they were older Star Trek costumes and props, but it is what it is. And you get to see the Best Picture Oscar that The Godfather Part 2 won. Now, before we go any further, you are not going to see our tour guide in this video. She's going to be blurred out. You're not going to hear her name or hear her voice. Why? Not because she sucked, quite the contrary. She was phenomenal. We passed by other tours and we by far had the best tour guide. Personable, knowledgeable, funny, friendly, just wonderful and accommodating and great. But I don't want to get her in trouble because when you walk in, they say you cannot take video on this tour. No way, no how, only still images. Well, obviously, I wouldn't have had much of a video here if your boy had listened to that. So what did I do? Ooh, well, my subterfuge went deep. I insisted on sitting on the back of the go-kart that they take you around in so that she couldn't see what I was doing. And you'll see different angles and quick movements and odd angles and whatnot because I'm sneaking. But my biggest sneak was that I would take the phone and I would point it in a different direction. While I'm taking video, I'm moving my index finger as if I'm tapping on my screen multiple times in a row to get the best still image possible. Oh, I'm a sneaky little bugger. Now, I've seen other people's videos of this tour on YouTube, and everyone seems to take videos, but in the off chance Paramount sees this, I do not want our tour guide to get in trouble because, like I said, she was absolutely wonderful, and if anything, she deserves a promotion, not to get in trouble. And if anything, I deserve to get an Academy Award, which they let you hold on this tour for my performance of lies and deceit. Shh, don't tell anybody my secret. Before you're brought onto the lot proper, you see this breakdown of where everything's shooting and in what soundstage. The rookie's kind of the top dog in the lot. So, you know, they take up the most studios, much how like Star Trek used to do back in the 90s. And I felt like I was back in the 90s because I spent my youth and much of my adulthood just wishing that Paramount Pictures was where I called my office. Maybe not home, but my home away from home. I wanted so badly to work here on Star Trek. So to be able to drive and walk through this lot was a major item on my bucket list, and now I've been able to check off. To get to see, check off, no pun intended, Captain. To see Bronson Gate, which when Charles Bronson went in for an open casting call, they said his real name wouldn't work, and they're like, come up with a better last name. He looked around and saw Bronson Avenue, and he came up with Bronson. And here is where they have a lot of their premieres at Paramount, from Star Trek to Puss in Boots, and this is not a Photoshop picture. This actually was taken in that theater. Now they say if you touch Bronson Gate on the way in, it's good luck. Well, I reached out for it and I didn't get the good luck. But we did get to see Forrest Gump Bench, which I didn't get off to go sit in it. Of course, I was super excited because we're coming to the part of the tour I was the most excited for. Star Trek Alley. Stage 4 was where Deep Space Nine's ops, crew quarters, and the cargo bays were held. Stage 17 was where the grandest set in Star Trek history, the promenade on Deep Space Nine, was built. Stage 18 was where the sets of the USS Defiant were housed, as well as some ancillary sets of the week. And across from these sound stages on Star Trek Alley housed the offices for many of the staff, and of course stages 8 and 9, which is where Star Trek The Next Generation lived. And I was ecstatic when our tour guide said stage 8, that housed the bridge of the USS Enterprise, the observation lounge, and 10 forward was where we were going to walk into. To be in that soundstage, to be able to look up at the grid that had serviced the Starship Enterprise, the floors where Sir Patrick Stewart and crew used to just call home. For a nerd like me, it was just heaven on earth. And they share a little entry area with stage 9, which we didn't go into. That's where engineering, sick bay, crew quarters, and so on were. But that was cool just to be next to that. And then, of course, later in the tour, we passed stage 32, which was stage 9 when it was still Desilu Studios before they merged and tore down the wall. And that's where they shot the original Star Trek series. And as we drove away from Star Trek Alley, this nerd was happier than if he lived on Risa. Now, going back a little bit, between stages 4 and 7 is this medical facility, which for the eagle-eyed Top Gun and Maverick fan, the first Top Gun, they shot a little pickup scene here. And stage 4 not only housed Rear Window, which was the first time they ever had to dig into the ground for a set, it was so massive, but also my favorite comedy / the greatest comedy of all time, Coming to America, was shot there. Seeing all this behind the scenes, houses for props, signs, and carpentry was amazing. And a little tidbit, they just put out like things they don't need anymore, like furniture or refrigerators that anyone who works there can just take home. That's cool. Here's Formosa, that's where they do all the Foley work. And Monty Python when they use the coconuts for the horseshoe. And of course, stage 7 also housed some other sets of Deep Space Nine, including Vic Fontaine's Lounge. Rest in peace, James Darren.
That's where they shot the 10 Commandments and Star Trek 4.
This tank takes 24 hours to fill, 24 hours to drain, and the sky background had to be dulled out because birds were thinking it was a real sky and flying into it, breaking their necks, poor things. And now we went from Los Angeles to my hometown of New York, the backlot. They have areas such as the Financial District, Brooklyn, Soho, all these different twists and turny areas. You've seen it in millions of productions, from Everybody Hates Chris, one of my favorites, to of course Star Trek, who had one of their greatest two-parters, past tense, in Deep Space Nine's 3rd season.
That's where the Gabriel Bell riots happened in Deep Space Nine. This was an episode that took place in 2024, and this is all a homeless encampment. And there was a big riot against the government in it.
Of course, that was also the school from Everybody Hates Chris. And facing that facade down this street, shot a very brief scene from one of my favorite films, Vanilla Sky, which, you know, I was super excited to just get that vantage point. Back through there is where the major soundstage for The Rookie is. We did go in there, but I didn't want to take any video because I'm just tired of the women using Nathan Fillion to get to me. It's exhausting. I asked Nicole, I was like, do you think this really looks like New York City? And she's like, yeah, I do. And you know, I didn't think I was gonna think that it did in person, but I thought it looked more like New York City in person than I do when seeing it in various television shows and films, if that makes any sense. Especially these buildings right here. This looks a lot like Soho. Maybe not the way they're edged, but that's for the angles so they can cheat shots and whatnot. And that's the most accurate subway entrance of the two they have there. And this is the cafe from Spider-Man 2 when Doc Ock kidnaps MJ. And this last part of the New York backlot was where the major fire that I mentioned earlier in this video happened back in 1983, where they were shooting Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and William Shatner was one who discovered it and went in there with the firefighters and saved a lot of damage and lives. William Shatner's the best. Stage 25 is where Cheers was shot, one of my favorites. I remember that facade from something in that series. And one time, Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson ran around naked and left their concrete imprint there. Now, before Paramount acquired Desilu Studios, down this path is where the queen herself, Lucille Ball's office was, and she is the mother of Star Trek because she is the person who greenlit Star Trek. Now, from the mother of Star Trek to the father of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry and many of the Star Trek writers from back in the 60s all the way up to 2005 used to work in this office building, but it's not the one named after him. That's this building, which is kind of near the water tank. We did a loop-de-loop around. So as the tour starts to wind down, you pass the dining room, commissary, and the water tank again, and then you go to the prop house, which, funny story, is the one place you're allowed to take video. I didn't hear them say that. So I'm taking mostly still shots because there's like multiple tour guides there and they're all watching you like a hawk, so you don't steal anything. So I'm like, you know, snapping actual things, and Nicole's like, you know you can take video in here, right? I was like, really? I guess I don't listen too good. Shocker. So I do have some video in here, but for the most part, it's still images.
From Jackass, Morbid.
From Team America World Police and Transformers to Sonic the Hedgehog to the Red October. The Red October? That's Terminator. To King Joffrey Joffre, ruler of Zamunda. And from the greatest comedy to the last great comedy, Tug Speedman from Tropic Thunder. And then they have some props from Star Trek Beyond, which is the best of the JJ verse, the Kelvin verse, as it were. And then they also have the turbo lift from the USS Enterprise in Star Trek Beyond, which you get to go into.
Ooh, it squeaks.
From there, we exit kind of through the gift shop where I got my mandatory magnet and a mug that I only got because it has stages 18, 17, and 4, which house my favorite show of all time, Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Well, I'm happy as could be. I am the happiest camper and the biggest nerd. We went in the TNG soundstage where the bridge was. I'm so happy. Did you have fun, Nicole?
I did. So much fun. Thank
you.
As the sun set on Paramount Studios Melrose Gate, we took the 2-hour drive down to Irvine to my favorite Italian restaurant there, Mama D's, which just has good vibes, good people, good prices, good food, good wine, and of course, I had the blessing of great company. Pinkies up, bitches.
Sound like good?
Yeah. So good.
This looks good. Good?
It was an early evening, as it often is with people our age, so I drove Nicole back to the Airbnb she was staying at with her parents, and I went to my hotel.
Well, just got to the hotel. The Marriott Costa Messe. It's a big room. A couple of stains on things, ew. They charge $40 a night for guest parking. Like, the is that? You see the pool, which is actually open. I have a balcony. Look at that. Oh, now I gotta check the bed though. That's always the scariest part. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see. Is this livable for the night? Yes. It's clean enough, right? But I am pooped. It feels like midnight. It's like not even 9 yet. Your boy's old. Hope there's a Dunkin' around here. I'm gonna wipe some stuff down. Take a brush my teeth, wash my face, get in bed, and probably pass the out. Checked out of the hotel. I was trying to figure out a way to get the parking to not be, to be comped or whatever, but that didn't happen. So, nice and misty, slightly humid morning. Room was a little damp and hot, so nice to be outside in the elements. How will you know when Shane gets desperate? This is how. Yep. I'm such a cheater.
After a little confusion as to where exactly we were having brunch that day, we ended up at Plums, which also had good vibes, good people, and good food.
That's supposed to be smoked salmon. It's like legit salmon.
Yeah, you got like a full-on fish there.
I'm very excited.
Huh. This burger looks good. See how it is.
It was excellent, and we were both very full, but it was time to part ways. I dropped Nicole off at her Airbnb, and I started the 4.5-hour trek back to Las Vegas. So how damn cool was that? Not only did we go onto the Paramount lot, which obviously you can do pretty much any time. We lucked out that we had so much access because we went when they were still on holiday hiatus. Oh my God, to go on stage 8. I was hoping for one of the DS9 stages, but it's right that it's stage 8, where the bridge of the Enterprise D was from seasons 2 through 7 and Generations. Who doesn't love the D? To be in those hollowed walls. For a Trekkie like me, it's a spiritual pilgrimage. Oh, I'm lucky. I am so lucky. But, that's kind of what LA has always represented to me since I was a kid. I remember Carmen Sandiego, and it was always like, oh, if you win, you get to pick you get your free vacation to any of the lower 48 states. I remember they used to ask me, like, where would you choose? And I would choose California because I want to go to LA. Why did I want to go to LA? Because it beckons to me because of Hollywood. Because my whole life, all I've ever dreamed of doing, wanting to do, nothing touches my soul, nothing speaks to me more than that. And LA represents Hollywood's golden age. It represents what I was put on this earth to do, and I'm not doing currently. I'm still trying to make that one project stick to open up the door for others. And you can help with that by liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing to the channel. Most of all, hitting that bell icon. It really does help. So I thank you in advance for that. And if this video comes out in the order succession I think it will, the week after the Discovery Princess video, I'm sure I'm going to put something in there about how when I was gazing up at the stars, I knew that something was missing. You know, you hear from people who are successful in the industry, I can only ever do this. That's how I feel. I suck at my job. I'm grateful for it, but I'm not particularly good at it. What I'm good at is filmmaking of some kind. And I don't have that currently, and I feel it missing from me and my soul. I was never happier in my life than when I was doing my web series stills. The ending of that show after 2 seasons, it was the hardest breakup of my life. I feel that missing from me now. And so to get to go on that lot was amazing and fun and it's just so great. But it also just reinforces in me what I need to get back to. And in the coming weeks, I'll be sharing with you a glimpse into a new project I've written that I'm trying to get a proof of concept made. But first, I need to get people to read it. The people I want involved, they've got busy lives. And it's hard to get them to sit down to read a 60-page pilot. But I gotta let LA and Paramount not make me feel down for too long that I'm not doing it currently, but I have to let it push me to get it done, to get back to where you once belonged. But what made this trip special was that I got to share it with Nicole. You know, life has taught Nicole and I, and most of my friends, to be very, very grateful and thankful for every single day and second you get with the people that you love, or you consider to be family. Cherish it. Hold on to it. You never know That made this trip worth it. Just get to spend some time with her, to have good food, laughs, and just get to be with your friend. That was the true blessing of this trip. A close second was being on Stage 8. I had a great time with Nicole in the City of Angels. I get to say, with the big old grin on my nerdy face, that Paramount Studios Stage 8 with the Enterprise D Bridge was time with my sister Nicole. Summed up what I wrote on the book months ago. LA. Check.